Ethiopia, officially known as the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, is a country located in the Horn of Africa. It is bordered by Eritrea to the north and northeast, Djibouti and Somalia to the east, Sudan and South Sudan to the west, and Kenya to the south. With over 100 million inhabitants, Ethiopia is the most populous landlocked country in the world, as well as the second most populous nation on the African continent after Nigeria. It occupies a total area of 1,100,000 square kilometers, and its capital and largest city is Addis Ababa. Some of the oldest evidence for anatomically modern humans has been found in Ethiopia, which is widely considered the region from which Homo sapiens first set out for the Middle East and points beyond. According to linguists, the first Afro-Asiatic-speaking populations settled in the Horn region during the ensuing Neolithic era. Tracing its roots to the 2nd millennium BC, Ethiopia was a monarchy for most of its history. During the first centuries AD, the Kingdom of Aksum maintained a unified civilization in the region, followed by Abyssinia circa 1137. Ethiopia derived prestige with its uniquely successful military resistance during the late 19th century scramble for Africa, becoming the only African country to defeat a European colonial power and retain its sovereignty. Subsequently, many African nations adopted the colors of Ethiopia's flag following their independence. It was the first independent African member of the 20th Century League of Nations and the United Nations. In 1974, at the end of Haile Selassie's reign, power fell to a communist military junta known as the Derg, backed by the Soviet Union, until it was defeated by the EPRDF, which has ruled since about the time of the collapse of the USSR in 1991. Ethiopia is a multilingual nation with around 80 ethno-linguistic groups, the three largest of which are the Tigray, Oromo and Amhara. Most people in the country speak Afro-Asiatic languages of the Cushitic or Semitic branches. Additionally, Omotic languages are spoken by Omotic ethnic minority groups inhabiting the southern regions, and languages from the Nilo-Saharan phylum are also spoken by the nation's Nilotic ethnic minorities. Ethiopia is the origin of the coffee bean. It is a land of natural contrasts, with its vast fertile west jungles, and numerous rivers, the world's hottest settlement of Dalol in its north, Africa's largest continuous mountain ranges and the largest cave in Africa at Sof Omar. Ethiopia has the most UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Africa. Ethiopia's ancient GEZ script, also known as Ethiopic, is one of the oldest alphabets still in use in the world. The Ethiopian calendar, which is 7 years and around 3 months behind the Gregorian calendar, coexists alongside the Oromo calendar. A slight majority of the population adheres to Christianity, while around a third follows Islam. The country is the site of the Hijra to Abyssinia and the oldest Muslim settlement in Africa at Negish. A substantial population of Ethiopian Jews, known as Beta Israel, resided in Ethiopia until the 1980s, but most of them have since gradually emigrated to Israel. Ethiopia is one of the founding members of the UN, the Group of 24, the Non-Aligned Movement, G77 and the Organization of African Unity, with Addis Ababa serving as the headquarters of the African Union, the Pan-African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the UNECA, African Aviation Training HQ, the African Standby Force and much of global NGOs focused on Africa. Despite being the main source of the Nile, the longest river on Earth, Ethiopia underwent a series of famines in the 1980s, exacerbated by civil wars and adverse geopolitics. The country has begun to recover recently and now has the largest economy in East Africa and Central Africa. According to Global Firepower, Ethiopia has the 46th most powerful military in the world. Names. The Greek name Alpha Theta Iota Omicron Pi Iota Alpha appears twice in the Iliad and 3 times in the Odyssey. The Greek historian Herodotus specifically uses it for all the lands south of Egypt, including Sudan and modern Ethiopia. Pliny the Elder says the country's name comes from a son of Hephaestus named Ethiopes. Similarly, in the 15th century Ge'ez Book of Aksum, the name is ascribed to a legendary individual called Eteopes, an extra-biblical son of Cush, son of Ham, said to have founded the city of Aksum. In addition to this Cushite figure, two of the earliest Semitic kings are also said to have borne the name Eteopes according to traditional Ethiopian king lists, at least as early as c. 850. European scholars considered the name to be derived from the Greek words aetho, I burn, plus ops, face. The name Ethiopia also occurs in many translations of the Old Testament, but the Hebrew texts have Cush, which refers principally to Nubia. In the New Testament, however, the Greek term Aithios, an Ethiopian, does occur, referring to a servant of Candace or Kentax, possibly an inhabitant of Meroe, which was later conquered and destroyed by the kingdom of Aksum. The earliest attested use of the name Ethiopia in the region itself is as a name for the kingdom of Aksum in the 4th century. In stone inscriptions of King Ezana, who first Christianized the entire apparatus of the kingdom. In English, and generally outside of Ethiopia, the country was also once historically known as Abyssinia, derived from Habesh, an early Arabic form of the Ethio-Semitic name, Abasat. The modern form Habesha is the native name for the country's inhabitants. In a few languages, Ethiopia is still referred to by names cognate with Abyssinia, e.g., modern Arabic al-Abashar.